4, I think Scott is not going to be here today. Am I correct about that?
Correct.
And Luis is probably on his way. Traffic and that. So welcome to you all. The first order of business will be the elections. We have annual elections, and so we'll take item 2.1 out of order. Yes.
I'm just wondering, since we don't have our full number of trustees to vote, whether perhaps we should
Wait
until...
Is that okay with everybody until, sure. Wait till Luis gets here?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Okay, that would be fine. So we go to hearing of citizens. First speaker is Lanny Ebenstein, who would like to tell us why he thinks that a parcel tax is a wonderful idea. Is that correct? So I gave your speech for you, and you can sit down.
Thank you.
Oh.
President Haslam, members of the board, Dr. Friedlander. My name is Lanny Ebenstein. I'm speaking as an individual, not on behalf of any organization or group. As I mentioned in my topic today, I had lunch with several individuals involved with City College, and we were talking about the financial difficulties that City College faces. And one option that it seems to me you should consider, and I've talked about it with some of you, but not with the board as a whole, is the idea of a parcel tax, a modest parcel tax in the Santa Barbara Community College District. There's no question that the budgetary circumstances from the state level are only going to become worse as time goes on, and there's no question that finances are going to be increasingly difficult at Santa Barbara City College. So in any event, I know that there are other agencies in our midst, including now the Santa Barbara Unified School District, which will have parcel taxes on the ballot in 2012. But this is something that at some point in time your board also may wish to consider. Thank you.
Thank you, Lanny. Next speaker is Thea, is it Altman, sorry.
Hi, I'm here because of the cut of the jazz choir class. And it feels to me like it's a really important class that gives us things that the other classes don't give us. And I've been taking all the vocal classes, and they're all great. And I think that the arts is a really important thing for the soul and the spirit of the community. And this is a wonderful college. I love this school. I love it. And there's so many students in there that are from Sweden and from all over the world, and they're so excited about it because they're getting such incredible instruction from Mike Jenkins, who also leads the big band, the Monday Madness, which brings in quite a bit of money for the music department, I believe, because they play out all the time. And I don't know why that class got cut. I know that there's cuts and things, I don't know if there's any solution to it. It feels to me like there's a little bit of a war between departments in this school, which is a really sad thing, because as a student, it's wonderful to be here, and then when you start to realize that people are afraid of losing their jobs and all afraid of their classes being cut, but I think it's a really great class. And I know those students from Sweden and Switzerland and Korea. There's at least half the class are foreigners, and I know they're paying way more tuition. And I don't know why they're not here. We got mixed up on the room number. We were told it was room 221, so maybe they just couldn't find it. Anyway, I'm here to I would love it if we could come up with some kind of way to bring that class back in. That's what
Well, thank you for your comments. Okay. We move back to the agenda, and we're taking item 2.1 out of order, which is the election of officers for this board required by state law. Nominations are open for the office of president. Yes.
I would nominate Peter Hasland.
Okay. Other nominations?
Nominate Luis Villegas.
I decline.
Decline?
Other nominations? Hearing none, that portion of the election is over.
I think we have to have a vote.
Would you like to have a vote? Okay, sure. All in favor of the selection of Peter Hasland as president of this Board of Trustees, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay?
Nay?
Nay.
Nay.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I'm elected. Maybe I should ask for a show of hands, to be sure. All in favor, raise your hands. 1, 2, 3. Okay, opposed? 1, 2, 3, 4. We do not have a president. I'm not sure what to do at this point.
Well, we reopen the nominations.
Yes,
Can I just say something? I really think it's important that when you don't have an elected president, you know, where you're elected to that office, that it rotates. That every year you have a different one so that everybody has a turn at rotating, at being president. Maybe some people don't have time this next year or whatever, but I just think everybody should have that turn. And I know mayors, like Mayor of Carpinteria, Mayor of Goleta, that rotates every year. So it's not personal that I voted no, but it's just a matter of, I think there should be almost a procedure just to rotate it.
okay.
And I don't think Maury's been president. Luis was vice president last year. Maybe he doesn't have time next year. I don't know. But I think we should explore all those things.
Yeah.
That's where I am.
I'm not going to be real good at remembering where I saw this, but it's written as part of our procedures or policies that when a president serves their first term here at SBCC, often they would go ahead and do 2 years in a row. That has been part of the written procedures, just following the first year. That's not arguing with your statement. I'm just saying that we do have that written down.
Yeah, Joan?
Hey, by way of background, we have always had a rotation policy. We never formalized it, but recently the selection of the president or the officers has become formalized. So you did read it, and I don't have a copy of it, but it is part of our board policies. My recollection of it is that we make a statement that we don't have a rotation policy, and this actually has been discussed at statewide meetings, whether it's a good idea to automatically have a rotation or not. We worked with it very successfully in the past, so it did work for us. It did give the option that the first time someone served as board's president, they had the option of serving 2 years, but it wasn't a requirement to serve 2 years. My feeling at this point, because we're in such an important transition time with the CEO selection process, that I feel that someone with experience on the board, and Mr. Villegas, since you are not going to be termed out at this point, you would have more continuity at this time to serve as president, where both Maury and I will be leaving the board by the end of the year. So the continuity really of past traditions and being the resource that might be appropriate at this particular unique year of CEO transition time might be best served by having someone with experience with the board, and certainly Luis has experience with both the local board and the statewide trustee institution. So I would ask Trustee Villegas to reconsider, and certainly hope that we would all be able to give you support during that time. So I know it's a burden and it's extraordinary demands during this next year, but if you have support of the board, I hope you would reconsider accepting that nomination.
Marcia?
I agree with Lisa that that I have read that it is a policy that we can go to two. And my thought was, in some ways, similar to Joan's, which is that continuity is important at this time. And that's why I nominated Peter. I think that the continuity that we would gain is important as we move forward. And that's what I had in mind. I have nothing against people taking turns. I don't think it's really that kind of an issue, though. I think that it has to do with whether or not this is something you have time and you want to do, and you think it's in the best interest of the college to do it at that particular time. So that's how I look at the process. I think that all of our trustees will, I hope, be contributing to the process of selecting our new superintendent, as will our search committee and our community and our campus stakeholders. We want everyone to have their part in participating in this process. And so I don't think that we lose anything by, or particularly need that additional fact of being on the board. I mean, Peter obviously has 40 years of experience at this college, more than any of us on this board. So I don't think you can top that in terms of experience.
Okay. I think there was an implied nomination for Luis to reconsider. Is that possible?
Well, one of the reasons for the decline is that is the time factor and also some personal issues. I understand that, and I know that understand what Trustee Livingston is referring to, and I think, you know, Trustee Croninger talked about being committed to the college. I think we all certainly are. So, but as I looked at it now, Trustee Livingston might be thinking, I also am up this year, quite frankly, and, you know, it may not be successful if I happen to run for re-election, who knows? So that was the other part of the consideration as well. You know, given what has been...
Smoke-filled room arm twisting, is that possible?
Given, you know, what has been discussed, et cetera, I will accept the nomination.
Okay, Luis is nominated. Are we ready for a second vote?
Do we, I'm not sure how this procedure works. Are you still nominated?
Yes. Well, I assume I am.
Well, no.
I would like to nominate Peter for
All right.
president.
So we're back to where we were a few minutes ago.
You know, it just occurred to me that when we have had nominations, we have not had seconds. Maybe we should do that, too.
Okay. Luis Villegas has been nominated. Is there a second for?
I'll second his nomination.
Okay, Maury seconds that nomination. I've been nominated. Is there a second for that nomination?
And I'll second that.
And Marcia seconds it. Are there other nominations?
Yeah, I'd like to ask Maury if he's interested, because I don't think you've ever served as president.
Yeah, you know, this is going to be a time when I think it's going to be a pretty demanding year, and I just, with my business and some personal issues, I don't have the time.
Okay, no, that's fair.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
just
thank
wanted to
you
ask, sure.
for the thought.
Sure.
Are we ready for a vote? Okay. All in favor of Luis Villegas? One,
I guess I should
two,
vote for
three.
myself, right?
Yes.
All in favor of Peter Hasland? One, two, three. You want to break the vote?
Yikes. Well, tell me why you want to be president. I want to know.
Well, it's a fair question.
Yeah, you've done it for a year. Why do you want to continue?
First, I think it's been a tumultuous year, and part of me would like to feel or figure out what it's like to be president under more normal circumstances. But I'm also convinced that there is some value to continuity. We have two major tasks before us for the coming year. One is the selection of a new superintendent president. And the second is that, given Governor Brown's second trigger, we have a major budget problem, challenge ahead of us. And I like to think that I could lend some support and move us through those two very critical areas. I mean, I have mixed emotions about it. I know that the time commitment is enormous. It has been for the past year, but I'm willing to do it. Yeah.
I think we also need to put on the table that we might be facing accreditation issues as well, and they did reflect on board governance in the past year. So my confidence in continuing board governance the way it was is extremely compromised. So I don't think we should not consider that as one of the important issues we'll be facing.
Sure.
And just clarification, the complaints about accreditation standards did not come from the accrediting board itself. We'll get that resolved in the next month or two.
Right, but they're on the table as a college issue that is still waiting resolution.
Marty, you need to make a decision.
I know, it's hard. The reason it's hard for me is because I believe in process, and I just think people should be able to run a meeting. I mean, I don't think it's, you know, it's not rocket science, as we like to say, but one of my friends is a rocket scientist, so I can't say it anymore, but it isn't, you know, anything it's just to run a good meeting, and I think we've had problems with our meetings, and I really want to make sure that we have in the future meetings that are crisp and to the point, and that we understand what's before us at all times, and I'm not sure that we did last year. I'm not blaming you, I'm just saying it was a difficult year for meetings, and I just think that we ought to, as I said before, take turns. Now, that doesn't mean that Luis he's already been it before. That's the way that is. So, you know, what I will do is, oh boy, I'll end up voting for Peter because of the continuity thing, mostly because of the accreditation interest. I hadn't even thought in terms of who should be president for that. That's almost crazy to me that would be something that we would be considering somebody to run our meetings, because I think our meetings in that way have been well run. So I'll end up voting for Peter, but Peter, you have to know that there is a reluctance only because I think our meetings need to be better, and I think you're in charge.
I couldn't agree more. Louis?
Is the voting over? I just wanted to say that,
Just is
I think so.
that there is continuity with Luis because he's the vice president. And
Right.
more times than not in the past, the president has served for a year and then the vice president. So I don't think this disrupts continuity, and I have personally, I like Peter, I like everyone on this board personally, and I'm not doing this to step on anyone's toes, but I thought the normal procedure when we voted Peter in as president and Luis as vice president, my thought was that he would succeed Peter after a year.
Marcia? And then maybe we should bring this part
Has the
to
vote, I mean,
I think
Yeah,
the
Marty,
I haven't really finished.
you haven't voted yet?
No,
Okay.
but I just said I might.
I don't think that's what our policies say. Maury and I appreciate that there was an unwritten kind of process that, in the past, that proceeded in that way. My suggestion would be, Marty, that if we need to improve the meetings, maybe this is something we should take up in our retreat or at a study session, and kind of, for all of us, go through the proper procedures, and you know, maybe many of us could learn to say less, myself included, so, and have a better meeting.
Okay.
So can we take the vote again? It was 3-3 the first time,
Okay.
so we need to.
All in favor of Luis, please raise your hand.
Aye.
1, 2, 3. All in favor of Peter, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think we have a decision. Nominations are open for the position of Vice President. Yes.
I nominate Marty Bloom.
And
Marty is nominated.
I'm going to decline, I think. I'd like to nominate Luis again.
I'm going to decline.
Oh, you're going to decline, too. We both decline.
Okay.
I'd like to nominate Lisa Macker.
Lisa?
Luis, I'm sorry,
Louisa
Luis was
Macker.
in my brain. Lisa Macker.
Okay. Louisa has been nominated. Is there a second to that
Can
nomination?
I nominate
As
someone else?
co-vice president.
I'll second that.
Okay, and the nomination is seconded. So are there other nominations for the position of Vice President? Yes.
And I would just like to say that because of my family obligations, I would not be prepared to, I'm happy to accept this nomination, but I wouldn't be prepared to move into the role of president for a couple, 2-3 years, because I still have 3 kids at home, and I work full-time, so I hope there's no written procedure that the vice president moves into president,
No, there
and I
isn't.
don't, and we just went over that there isn't, but that can't be the expectation if I did it.
Further, well, I think with that understanding, I think there's agreement that there's no such written policy. Further nominations? Are we prepared to vote
By acclamation?
by acclamation? All in favor of acclaiming Lisa Macker as Vice President of this board for the coming year? Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay? Motion is carried. We move back to the agenda. And should we approve the minutes of
I
the?
think you turned the gavel over.
No, he's keeping it.
He's
Oh,
president.
I'm sorry. I'm
We-
already.
We could give her some
Turn your gavel
practice.
over. Turn the gavel over to yourself.
Wishful thinking, Joan.
Be
Wishful
careful what you
thinking,
wish
right.
for.
Yeah. Okay.
Mr. President, I'd like to see if we could put item 2.6 early, because we've got 3 people here who are from elsewhere
Right.
who don't need to
Sue, is that
see
okay
this.
with you?
Longevity.
Recognition.
With the longevity recognition?
Yeah.
We can do the,
Can dispose of longevity fairly,
right.
Okay. We have 2 recognitions on page 5 and page 6, and Sue, would you like to do that? And then we'll take, out of order again, the presentation by our search firm.
Thank you very much. That was my bad. We have 2 longevity recognitions today. First, I would like to invite James Levasseur, Food Services Assistant, to come forward, please, and to speak to us about his 20 years of service to the college is Mark Sullivan, Director of Food Service.
I want to thank the board and everybody here for taking the time to honor Jim today. And Sue, we'll keep it quick because I think you want us out of here. No, when I was told Jim had 20 years of service, I started thinking, what has Jim done at the college? And I can say I've known Jim for 16 years and worked alongside with him. And I can say he's a compulsive note taker. I'm really surprised Jim doesn't have a spiral notebook with him right now because he's constantly taking notes. But no notes today. But I started thinking, I can say Jim is a hard worker and Jim is a dedicated employee, but I had to start thinking about there's a different Jim at work than a Jim that's outside of these halls. And Jim is a very giving person, and he doesn't know that we know some of this stuff, but I know Jim volunteers for phone banks, and I know a bunch of us did an AIDS walk one time, and Jim was at the finish line giving people massages because Jim is a masseuse. And I'll let it out, Jim Magic Hands Levasseur. That's what he's known as. He has brother's idea. Jim's also an actor. And he came in one time playing the part at the Circle Barbie Ranch as the villain. and he came in as bald as the day is long. And we all sat there nudging one another, who's going to ask Jim if he's sick? And it finally came out. So Jim's out in the community constantly, volunteering his time, and that's what I really admire with Jim. He's quiet, he doesn't say much, he does what needs to be done, he works on his own, but that quietly he's out there in the community offering his services, and it's a very selfless act, and I appreciate it, Jim. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you very much, Mark. I've been at the college over 20 years, actually. Started as a part-timer, and the people they hired before me didn't work out, so I got the job, luckily the job. And I've only been in Santa Barbara 20 years and 6 months, so it was really a luck and fortune that I got this job 2 months after I moved here. And it's one of the best jobs I ever had. And a good part of that is the people you work with. Been fortunate to work with a lot of good people who know their stuff, who are able to listen, and it's very important when you're working this long that you feel that you have a say in what goes on, and that's very important. And I appreciate everybody's appreciate this college very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Carrie Fensky James, Office Assistant Senior at Cosmetology, will come forward, please. Diane Hullams, Dean over the area, will help us recognize Carrie's 10 years of service to the college.
Good evening, members of the board. I am the new dean, or the newest dean for the Cosmetology Academy, and it's my pleasure to do that. I took over from Ben on November 1st. So I'm just getting to know all the folks over there at the Cosmetology Academy. And so what I'm doing is scheduling one-on-one meetings with the staff and the faculty, as well as their corporate meetings and so on. And so it's my pleasure to get to do this evening, because I had a great meeting with Carrie, and I want to tell you a couple things about her. And I want to take this time to do a shameless plug for the Cosmetology Academy services. They have clients, and you can go in there and get manicures, facials, all sorts of things, haircuts and trims, so we extend that invitation to you all. Carrie is a senior office assistant, and she serves as the face of the Cosmetology Academy. She's the person who schedules the appointments. And so she works with the students and the clients, you know, matching up the right person and so on for that client service. And, you know, sort of a play on words that she's the face of the Cosmetology Academy, since there are facials done there as well. And she's just the perfect person to do that. She's a great face of the Cosmetology Academy because she's very, very outgoing and pleasant and wonderful to deal with in that regard. She also does the accounting because it's a business of sorts, because the clients pay for their services and so on. So whenever I go over there to meet with Griselda, the department chair, and by the way, they're all working, so they couldn't be here today, but Carrie comes out and makes sure that she says hi to me. She's always very, very friendly. When I met with her to kind of find out more about her, I also learned that she is one of the instructors for adult ed. She teaches fitness classes at the Schott Center, and she also works in conjunction with the YMCA to teach fitness. So, you know, here she is greeting all of our clients and serving our students. She loves doing that. And I just want to, you know, echo everybody in congratulating you for 10 years. Carrie.
briefly, I want to thank the college for acknowledging me in this way. And I'm honored, and it has been my pleasure to work for the college, and thank you so much.
I'd like to endorse what Diane said, because being a consumer of City College services, Carrie has been the face of the college, and it was always a delight. She was on top of everything, and it was always a pleasure to work with her.
Now perhaps we can take item 2.6. Ed, would you like to approach the microphone?
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ed Savage. I'm a managing director for Stanton Chase International. We're honored and humbled to have the opportunity to identify candidates, final candidates for your next president and superintendent. And the purpose of being here today is to make mention of the fact that item 2.6 on the agenda had an attachment, which if you had gone on the website, you would have seen. And this is a draft job announcement, which was based on our discussions with members of the Board of Trustees and other community leaders to get input ideas on the profile of the successful candidate. So I'm here today to solicit your approval for this document so that we may go live and that we can be posted on the Santa Barbara City College website in due course. Are there any questions?
Questions? Yes. Marcia?
I just had a couple of questions
Sure.
about whether we might tinker just a tad with a couple things.
Okay.
One is in the second paragraph under qualifications.
Okay.
We have a minimum of 3 to 5 years of senior leadership and organizational management experience, as well as 5 years of management is required. It seems to me the 5 years of management part is redundant since we've gone with 3 to 5 years of senior leadership and management. And I just as leave go with the 3 to 5 and keep the funnel wide and then narrow it as we get candidates that
Okay.
are
Noted.
brought forward.
Thank you.
And then the second one, this is same page, personal characteristics, 3 from the bottom. We have a leader who is experienced in collaboration and committed to meaningful participatory governance, but is decisive and will own the decision. To me, that sends a little bit of a mixed message, and I recognize the need to get to decisions, certainly. So my suggestion would be a leader who's experienced in collaboration and committed to meaningful participatory governance before decisions are made. Decisions can be complex in this institution. Some are made at the board level, many are made superintendent president, some are made well below that. You know, it's just a complex process. So I think that might be a formulation that would be helpful. And the last comment is over on the next page, 3 down, I think we just have some grammatical issues with that one that it might take a little tweaking.
Where was that?
Third one down.
On
What?
page,
The next page, 6, on page 6. It just didn't quite read smoothly to me, that's all.
third bullet down. A leader who can facilitate planning, development, and management of the college budget.
No,
Report.
it demonstrates.
One above
Yes, the one above it. An individual with demonstrated support and sensitivity to the needs. Support to the needs sounded awkward to me.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Other comments?
Support of.
Ed, I had,
Support of and sensitivity to.
under student learning and student support services, the one thought I had was that there might be included here a note that this person will encourage innovation and creativity in the process of teaching?
It's down at the bottom of page 6.
No, it's, oh, maybe I'm...
Student learning and student
I'm
support
looking on
services.
at the top of page 7, student learning and student support services.
I'm thinking your paging might be a little different, Ed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Student learning and student support services.
I have it at the bottom of mine.
Some notion that this person is going to be encouraging creativity and innovation in delivering the educational experience.
Could we take that as your language, basically? An individual who encourages and...
Sure.
So
Yeah, I'm not fussy
repeat
about
it.
that.
Well,
It's
I'm just suggesting so we can repeat it so we could improve going forward, if you can.
Well, in keeping with the other statements, supports, promotes, and so forth, would encourage innovation and creativity in the approach to teaching.
Are we running into any academic senate issues that the
Dean's shaking his
exclusive
head no.
control of the academic senate over academic
We
issues?
have the president of the academic senate here who might address that. No. I wouldn't think so. I would think that we want somebody who encourages innovation.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry, you just
Marcia?
reminded me that on that same page, the second bullet down, I had a typo marked there as well. Support career and occupational education without an S for workforce training and the continuing assessment and development of the requisite skills students require, take out relative to find jobs. That's just a, at least in my version,
Yeah, okay.
a fix.
Thank you.
Okay.
Any other comments?
I hear none.
Mr. President, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We look forward to working with you, Ed. And we move back to...
Peter, are we approved to go forward with the announcement then? Should we vote?
Should we take a vote?
I think so.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve as elaborated upon the statement of job announcement?
So moved.
Is there a second? Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. A motion is made and seconded. Is there discussion on the motion? Hearing none, we move to a vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Abstentions? Motion is carried. I believe the next item is 1.5 minutes of the regular meeting of October 27th. Is there a motion to approve?
I'd like to move to approve with a comment just that I'm very pleased with these minutes. First time I've been able to say that, and that they're brief but to the point, and it's just a delight. Thank you.
Marty
So I move that
moves.
they be approved.
Is there a second?
And I agree, I have one, I think, spell check typo.
And I have a requested amendment.
Okay. Do you want to finish your point first?
Sure, I think spell check probably turned concur in several of, starting with item 6.2A and going all the way through the next, all the 6.2s, changed it into concern, and I don't think Scott Ammon meant concern, I think he meant concur.
Okay.
Yeah.
Joan?
Okay, I'd like to amend on page 4, which is item D, E, third paragraph down, or included in my discussion of my public documents requests for the amount of money that was spent by the sole authorization of the board president. The conclusion of that investigation and report was that the board president authorized the expenditure of $85,000 $259.28. So to make that report complete, and I can provide the supporting documents if necessary, but those were the ones that were presented to me in the public documents request. And missing in that total, there was no billing by Craig Price for June 2011. So between April 30th, 2011 and August 31, 2011, Board President Peter Haslam, on his own initiative, incurred legal expenses of $85,259.28.
Excuse me, can I ask a question about that?
Please.
We didn't have that information when these minutes
I presented supporting documents when I made this report, and so I was requesting that they would be included, and I certainly identified the amount, and I did request a verbatim transcription of that. So it seems to be a very missing, since the whole point was talking about getting this information, yet the final information wasn't included. I think that it becomes an important part of the minutes.
Okay, but my question was the final amount included on October, whatever, 27th? I don't know. Well, then,
The dates are only between, the only information I got was up until August 30th, 2001.
At that meeting,
what I'm
I
asking.
think the
And
point,
these are the ones that were authorized by
yeah.
Peter Haslam individually.
I think the issue here is
Thank you.
the number wasn't discussed, the request was, but not the number in terms of what we recorded in the minutes.
Well, I presented supporting documents for it, and I certainly identified the number. We can go back on the tapes, and,
We'll do that.
and that was the point of my
We can do that.
discussion.
We'll go back in the tapes. We'll check the tape. If it's there, then we'll put it in there.
Yeah, thank you.
I just have two thoughts. One is, I don't want to deviate from the summary kinds of minutes that we have agreed to have. I think we should stick with that. And second of all, I certainly don't have a problem with people who are correcting the minutes, as long as we agree that that's what occurred at the time. But I do have a problem with the characterization that we are now getting of this information, and that is that the board voted to authorize these expenditures through the contract. And I think that the way it's been stated, there seems to be some suggestion that President Haslam unilaterally decided this, and the contract that the board voted for approved that, and you pointed that out in your comments, I believe, Joan. I'm not saying that you didn't. I'm just saying I want it to be clear as we discuss it now that this was board-authorized action.
Exactly.
And not something outside of that.
And the supporting documents included the board discussion when this authorization was granted, and the concerns and the statement made at that time that I would be following up on this, and I did make many requests for how much was being authorized on a unilateral basis. That was allowed under contract, that the board president could authorize on a unilateral basis. That was included in the supporting documentation when we agreed to that. I just wanted to find out how much was being authorized, because it never went through the board. So the point is the board didn't know about these authorizations. We had no idea how much was being spent for what purposes. We had no access to the product, the work product that was being solicited, and most importantly, we didn't understand the amount. So that is what led to this document request, of which I still don't know what it was spent on. None of us do.
If I may respond. Sure. Joan, we don't review the legal bills in general. We don't see most of the legal bills. This is not unusual.
Well, that's why we don't know what this money was spent on.
No, I'm talking about all of the legal bills.
Well,
The
but
legal
there
bills
was a
that the
request.
college has are far larger than this amount, and I realize that you were unhappy with the vote to approve that contract, but once that vote occurs, it is your ethical obligation under the board policies to support that majority
No.
decision of the board. I'm not saying you're not entitled to the information. I certainly think you are. I want things to be clear that the board did vote for this, the board did authorize this, and we can certainly discuss the whole issue further at our retreat if that's something we need to do.
And there was an agreement that would be reviewed in a year to see how this worked out. And from this point on, I believe the authorization has now been transferred over to the college president, the superintendent president, to be doing the hiring. I was concerned about the transactions. What was the amount of the transactions? So I think we're saying the same thing.
I'm going to have us move forward because we're now debating the substance as opposed to the minutes. And I think there will be another opportunity to debate the substance of this issue. So the motion before us is to approve the minutes as modified by the commentary. Is there any further, are there further corrections or additions to the minutes? If not, we'll take a vote. All in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Abstentions? The minutes are... One abstention? Okay. Lisa Macker abstains. We move to 1.6, communications. Dr. Nevins, would you care to give an academic senate presentation? Yes.
President Haslam, members of the board, Acting Superintendent President Friedlander. I must admit, the board vote for president was very interesting. It's intriguing to me how the emphasis on continuity has changed from year to year. So, what has been going on with the Senate? A course realignment and the CE Visioning Task Force appointments are two of the major items we've been working with. In the course realignment area, the packets were sent out to the department chairs a couple of weeks ago, and I am very gratified to report that the vast majority of chairs have sent back their plans. So in other words, individual departments have looked at their departments very closely, have figured out how they can do an 8 or 12% cut, and then put forward some things. Now, of course, those cuts are not guaranteed to go forward, but it does help people to think through what would be an appropriate cut at their departmental level, since they are, in fact, the experts, the content experts. Those are all coming in. There's a couple of stragglers left over, but they'll be in before the end of this month, and then this will give a lot of very substantive input to the deans, the EVP, and the acting superintendent president when they go to make their decisions on how to allocate TLUs. So that's been a very, it's coming along very well. I must admit, when we first sent the packets out, I was quite scared because you never know. You work really hard on things like this, and a lot of people have worked on this project, and then when it comes time to actually get feedback from folks, you never know how it's going to go. And I'm very, very gratified that those chairs have really stepped up and did a really good job. So I'm very proud of all our faculty. For the Visioning Task Force, the Senate was tasked with appointing some members, some faculty from the Continuing Education Division, and I'd like to tell you guys who they are, if you don't mind. They were approved at the November 23rd Senate, and representing Basic Skills is Instructor Claudia Johnson, representing Career Tech Education, Instructor Barbara Lotito, representing Older Adults, Instructor Mark Farrar, representing the Fee-Based Program, Instructor Lauren Kearns, and representing Parent Education, Instructor Ellen Stoddard. So those are the folks who were put forward by the Senate and approved at our November meeting, and they'll be joining the co-chairs on that committee, and both acting superintendent president. I wish we could have a shorter word for that. It sure is a mouthful. Jack and I went to the first organizational meeting, and it was an excellent meeting. I'm also pleased to report that we have put forward Dr. Bob Gray, Professor of Geology at SBCC, for the Hayward Award. He is very, very well qualified for this. He's gathered just about every award possible, so I'm hoping he can add this one to his collection. Any questions? Yes.
Again, your minutes are showing the really hard work being done at the college at this time under the pressures that we're under. A lot of it's done by academic senate.
Thank you very much. We have some really big issues on the docket for this next semester. So I promised the senators an active year, and they're getting it. So
yeah.
Marcia?
Oh, go ahead.
And then
I was just going to congratulate you, too, for all the hard work the Academic Senate is doing, and I think that down the road we will get more information about how that's playing out and how you think this process of the 8 and 12% cuts is informing our decisions.
Absolutely. One of the things I'm working on is coming up with a way to track what are the results of the process so that we can feed back on this and figure out if it actually is working for us or not. Don't worry, I'm all over that.
Lisa?
Just same thing, just thank you so much to you for your leadership and the faculty and the chairs.
Thank you very much. It's
been
definitely been a
very
team effort. It's been
much
a
a hard
huge
thing.
team effort.
Yeah, and I just want to echo this. Dean has just provided extraordinary leadership in doing this. I mean, you think about how difficult this task is and the level of cooperation, but let me tell you, a lot of thought went into, on Dean's part, in how to even arrange and introduce the process. And see it working just as well as it has, it's just a joy to watch. But it didn't happen without a lot of work on Dean's part. And so again, Dean, I just want to thank you for everything.
Thank you very
you've done.
much. And Jack has also been instrumental in helping. I bounce things off of him, and we've coordinated very closely.
I want to add my thoughts too, thanking you.
No, you're quite welcome. Thank you.
Further comments? Thank you very much. Joel, for the academic, or for the associated students?
President Haslam, members of the board, Acting Superintendent Dr. Friedlander. I would like to first introduce myself to the board. I'm Jose Joel Negroni. I'm currently a senator in this academics year student senate. I'm a former Marine, native to the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico, with the goal of receiving a business degree and minor in biology in order to attend medical school. I had the privilege of representing Santa Barbara City College Veterans Program when SBCC received the John W. Rice Award this late summer. And also have the privilege of attending currently the Dean Hiring Committee, selected by President Englert and also our extraordinary advisors, Dr. Ben Partee and Amy Collins. I only wish to share this information to convey the amazing intellectual diversity currently present in our Student Senate, our willing devotion to SBCC, whether during the semester or on break, since we are the SBCC student leaders. We have come to the end of the semester strong and looking forward to the future experience following this semester. At the moment, President Englert is working on organizing a debate between Peter Matthews and the all representatives with UCCSB Associated Student Government. We plan to launch this debate at the start of the next semester, which from the help of the Associated Government of UCSB, we plan to host it in Campbell Hall. And for more detail, President Englert asked that he be addressed, and he has further details to provide you if needed. This semester, we're looking to see more, this coming semester, we're looking to see more dedicated leaders for the student body. With the hopes of having such individuals, we have amended our application process for those unoccupied seats in our student government for all future applicants. We're now requiring the students have to attend at least one of our meetings before applying to the Student Senate, and also look up 3 faculty committees. On top of already having to acquire 200 signatures, 3 teacher recommendations, a VP recommendation, a D recommendation, and an interview in front of the Senate. Moving on to this next semester, every senator stayed beside Senator Tibetz, who is moving to Washington, D.C. for an internship he was offered with political science. We all have 3 spots open in the beginning of the spring semester and hoping to see good candidates come in order to keep the voice up for the Student Senate. On December 13th, President Englert met with Ryan Byrne to discuss about a policy known as Grades First. President Englert is excited to test out the implementation of this process and believes that it will allow for a much more personalized education for students. He also believes that a service like this, if implemented right, could be strongly beneficial to all students, not just athletes. He will brief the Student Senate on this information and will be placing it on our agenda for our first meeting in January. More information and official stance on this software will be provided when the Senate returns from Christmas break. The Senate is sorry to see the 6 positions were left unfilled during the attrition, according to the Academic Senate. We understand that there's a lot of tough decisions even from our side with our involvements with Student Task Force and other requests that we have from Dr. Friedlander in order to see our voice being carried out. It's been really tough, but we understand that the decisions need to be made, especially with the difficult times that are coming up. We understand that each department at this college is strongly influential, and we're sorry to see those spots were unfilled. Along with attrition, students in our Senate are already experiencing the harsh realities and budget cuts, as we are unable to take certain classes that we wanted for the semester. We have also received confirmation from the Chancellor's Office and SSCCC The state will trigger Tier 1 and Tier 2 outline reductions, affecting California community colleges by $102 million reduction to base apportionments and a fee increase from 36 to 46 per unit for residents commencing summer 2012. We'll be organizing a fundraising ad hoc committee in January with the hopes of organizing a flea market, and we'll be pondering other ideas that will hopefully help to offset budget cuts. Until then, we appreciate your continued support and look forward to attacking another semester with the students, faculty, staff, and administration of Santa Barbara City College. We would like to express our deepest wishes for all members of the board, staff, and faculty. We hope everyone has the most blissful holiday and New Year with family and friends. Is there any questions for us?
Questions? Yes, Marcia.
I'd just like to say thank you also for your thoughts and help in contributing to the revenue to try to offset our budget cuts.
Thank you.
Thank you. Happy holidays.
Jack Friedlander?
Yeah, Liz is up.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It is.
Jet lag.
Good afternoon, President Haslam, members of the board. At our last meeting, we had a comprehensive demonstration of the Gmail system, which we are considering going to. I want to thank IT Director Dan Watkins for presenting the demo, and Dr. Freelander also attended. So we were able to see what might be coming and also to voice our concerns and what our needs are, and I think we were listened to. I also wanted to update you on something I brought a few months ago as far as the merging of positions in the EOPS department. We had a trial period of combining two positions, EOPS Care and CalWorks, and I want to thank Ben Partee and Marcia Wright and Pat English and Chelsea, who is the employee involved, for doing a comprehensive analysis of how that would work. And I think we had a meeting today, and I think that a proposal will be forthcoming as far as combining some positions and maybe creating a new one but at a lower level than another one, and then eliminating a position. So they're trying to have some cost savings there. And final thing, I think Jack Freelander's, or Acting President Freelander's, email about the triggers being pulled on the budget got a lot of people's attention. I think there's been a lot of more questions and concerns about the upcoming pretty large budget cuts are going to have to happen in the spring. I think people are now beginning to realize some of the magnitude of what that might be, and we're still waiting for the recommendations from the different areas as far as operations. I know you've gotten the recommendations from the Academic Senate, but there's a huge area of operations. So I think we'll, I guess, be getting that after the first of the year, and then to see how we can possibly still make things work. So looking forward to that. Okay, any questions?
Any questions, thoughts? Thank you very much, Liz. I apologize for overlooking you. That was... Now we get to Jack.
Thank you. I'll go, there's been so many highlights have taken place between the last board meeting and this board meeting. And in the interest of time, I'll just point out a few. One, before starting, I'd like to thank Joan Galvan. Joan has done an amazing job of writing media releases about all the good things we're doing and having them included in various news, media outlets. There hasn't been a day that's gone by where we don't have information about our accomplishments in one or more of the media outlets, and she does a great job with that. What I included in your board packet is the preliminary results of our Express Success program, and it's a one-page email from Kathy Malloy where she asked each of the faculty who are participating in the Express Success program how well the students did this fall. And the results exceeded anything I had hoped that would be achieved. We were serving at-risk students who placed in basic skills and who were in need of financial aid, most of them. A lot of them were EOPS students, others weren't. And so we targeted an at-risk population. Their overall completion rate, then we had them enroll, sign a contract, they'd enroll full-time and take the courses we're taking, follow our advice, and do what we asked them to do. In exchange, we gave them some benefits, which they've appreciated. The faculty who've taught this said they have never worked so hard, but was extremely gratified, and the students exceeded, were tired and exhausted at the end of the semester. Results. Only 5% of all these students, and over 250 students, 260 who participated, dropped their classes. Dropped out, only 5%. 80% of the students passed one or more of the classes. They were math or English they enrolled in. 70% passed 2 courses in one semester. The acceleration this fall with a passing grade. Others will take it next time. In math, the success rates passing one math class was 80%. For the college population in general, looking at the comparable one, is around 50. And what I'm doing now is Robert Ellis and I, Robert primarily, will be giving comparison data, which I'll present more formally. This is in English. Then 68% completed 2 math classes in one semester. And it's phenomenal what we received. The English, the rates were 83% completed 1 class, and 75% completed 2 classes, and two students over and above that were ready for college level English. They assessed 2 levels higher as a result of the accelerated experience. About 90% of the students were Latino students in there at large, most qualified for financial aid, and to get these kinds of results is phenomenal. We'll be taking a new class this spring, and these students will continue until they finish college level, transfer level English and math requirements. Then they're finished with this program. Next fall, our plan is to almost double the number of students that we'll admit, and the plan is to scale it each year larger and larger until by the year 4, as many students who will commit to the contract in terms of what they have to do, we'll be able to expand and accelerate. We're working closely with the foundation. They'll be launching the 2nd annual Campaign for Student Success, and that allows us to provide the students some of the incentives over and above what we can do with no financial support. But the program isn't dependent upon that. We built it so it'd be expandable. But to get these kind of results, first time out, we learned a lot. And Kathy Malloy has provided fantastic faculty leadership for this. And she handed me the other day 3 pages of lessons learned and what we're going to do, what we learned from this experience. And so to learn in your first semester scaling it, to get these kinds of results, I don't care about anything else going on in college. Yesterday was one of the happiest days I've had since I've been at this college, to get this kind of results. And the next step is, with a grant that we got to develop the Express to Transfer program, that these students will be able to transition into that as we build that program. But we will start doing the same thing in fall 12, and then learn from it and expand it and expand it. And I think that I'm convinced that when the Aspen Prize comes out again, which is the second thing I want to talk about, in a couple of years when these data show up in our databases, that we'll be off the charts in terms of our degree and transfer completion rates with this program. So that's what the main thing I want to report today. A lot of good things have happened. My trip back to Washington, D.C. was very gratifying. The most important thing was all the recognition we received as a college, for being in the top 10, and the recognition we got at the event, and the press that we got since. And again, Joan Galvin has done a great job in terms of our coverage and what's on the website. We were in the Chronicle of Higher Education talking about our transfer rates and we've got the LA Times, just a lot of different positive coverage, with this. Also, what's significant to me is I spent quality time meeting the other presidents, and we all bonded together and agreed that we're going to stay in contact with each other, learn from each other, because we're all learning as we try to overcome these huge challenges we have to get more students to complete their degrees, transfer, and have the skill sets needed for jobs that pay a competitive wage and benefits in this economy. It was unfortunate but expected about the triggers being pulled. Students' fees going up to $46 a unit. It's gone up from $26 a unit to $46 a unit in just the last year and a half, and significant along with these other fees. So with the foundation, I can't be happy with working with Vanessa and some of the energy that's on the foundation board in recognition of the need to raise funds to help students afford college, because it's becoming a larger and larger barrier. Last thing I'll say in my remarks, kind of short, is in talking to Martha Cantor, she's the Undersecretary for Community Colleges in the Obama administration. Their big issue right now is controlling cost of higher education. It's too high. So they're going to be coming out with a number of actions, through accreditation or changes in legislation that's going to require colleges to look at ways to control their costs, because that's the major barrier to higher education right now. And because I've known her for a long time, I'll be providing her with some suggestions, but I'll be talking to the board study session, at a study session about what those are, and with the academic senate as well, just to have a checks and balances before what I put out there is something that is generally supported. But she was looking to for suggestions specifically on how to go about doing that. And some of the ideas that she had, I felt that they can use some work, and she agreed. So that's where that is. So Peter, President Haslund now, and the last thing, we had a lengthy discussion on Peter's election, re-election as board president. And I have to just say how much I appreciate all the time that Peter's put into this. And I've used Peter very much as a sounding board to bounce ideas and off. And it's just been I've been very fortunate to have Peter, there for me. And each of you have been great. I have to say that I feel very supported. But in the role of the president, board president, it has required an extraordinary amount of his time, and he's given it graciously. So again, I want to thank you, Peter, for that. So with that, I'll conclude my remarks, and I'll send you a summary. Joan's prepared a summary of all our accomplishments this fall, and those are just the ones we know about. And it just makes you feel good about the college in terms of how we, at a time of cutting budgets, that we're moving forward. And that was the main thing we wanted to accomplish this year, and that's what we're doing. So thank you.
Thank you, Jack. Report from board members, committee chairs. Marty?
Yeah, Facilities Committee met on Monday, and there's always a lot going on, so we received project status reports on 6 projects. But one of them, the pedestrian bridge, I think we were interested, I think this whole board was interested in whether it had gone through the Department of State Architecture, and that's in the process right now, but the state architect's office is backed up and has fewer staff too, so we'll see what happens there. But they need to come and do an inspection and so on, so we can get that approval. And the pedestrian bridge project is finished, but until they inspect it, it's not completely finished. And then we awarded, we're talking about a contract, I think it's in today's agenda, and that is to PMSM Architects, a local architect firm, to analyze the Student Center, which is a building that might need renovation.
The Campus Center.
Campus Center, I'm sorry. Campus Center might need renovation, but not only, we thought it just a little bit, but then it turns out it really needs a huge amount, and the question is whether to keep it and renovate it, or to demolish it and start over. But both of those are going to be big projects, and so we're awarding that contract to those architects so they can come back, and I think it was somewhere between March and May that they're going to come back and so it's a quick turnaround.
Yes.
To let us know, and then we can report to the board. And
Yeah, basically, we want to let us know, and you know, all of us know what our options are.
Yeah.
To either do a major remodel, or we're better off recommending to state that we knock it down and start from scratch.
Right. It's huge, huge. Yes.
Does that include an engineering assessment, basically, of the
Yeah,
soundness?
yeah, we asked about that, and I think they mentioned soils testing and so on that will have to happen as they're doing this.
And the structural engineering?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's a quick, as I said, it's only a couple months. So.
Other questions of Marty? Joe?
Requested this several times, and we haven't really followed up on it. And maybe this is something, I don't know when we can start dealing with it, but we've never really discussed having a budget for the board. And we're hearing everybody is being very, very careful about their expenditures. Everybody is cutting back. And yet we have never gone through the formality, and I say never, I mean, including all the time I've been on the board, had a specific board budget that we are allocated. At this point, every single line on the item is exquisitely balanced with everything else in the college. Yet, I'm concerned that we are spending money without knowing how much we can spend, should spend, or whatever. So I just want to keep that out there as a request that we consider having a budget for the board as well, and that we follow the same dedication and discipline that everybody else, that we are asking of everybody else at the college.
Okay, Marcia?
I would just mention that there is a budget for the board inherent in the budget, and there's a cost center, am I correct, Joe, for the board? So if you want to know what that is, that's where you look to see what the board is expected to spend. And I would assume that our expenses are being considered in the normal course of things as we move forward to cut. That doesn't mean they might not want to have us discuss it, but it's part of the process already.
We've never
We
seen a budget,
haven't
planned the
focused
budget.
at that level on the cost center, but we haven't focused on other cost centers either. So, you know, it's pretty much equivalent.
Other comments, please?
Yeah, I wanted to comment on an item along the same lines as what Trustee Livingston brought up earlier, and that is I was surprised and quite frankly concerned to receive a document that had been sent to us as a legal opinion from one of our attorney firms, and I wanted to know under whose direction and authorization that legal opinion was requested. Again, I'm concerned on the expenses being incurred, legal expenses being incurred, because as I read through the document, it seems to me that this board had discussed that document or that issue fully and had rejected it. So I'm wondering why we were asking for a second opinion or a legal opinion on that issue, because on a 4-2 vote, I think we had rejected that option. So in a previous study session. So I'm concerned that these legal opinions are being requested and we are incurring additional expense, especially when we had taken a straw vote, I believe, on this issue. So I'm concerned about that, and this board needs to address that. Now, whether that has to be discussed at a retreat or at another study session, I think we should. Jack?
Yeah, two things on that. At the last study session, two of the board members, at least two of the board members requested it, because we listened to the tape, and it was hard to get a sense from being there and the tape whether there's concurrence, because people didn't say no. And so when Sue and I discussed it and listened to the tape over and over again, we said, okay, well, we'll go ahead and ask, for this. The sense we got was we should ask for the legal opinion. That said, I am concerned, and one of the things I did want to talk about at the board retreat is being much more judicious about incurring legal expenses. It's expensive, and I'm going to have to be more aggressive, in my role, with you, to really temper those requests, because at a time we're doing major budget cuts, it's only when we must have incur legal advice in those areas. So I guess I'm agreeing that we need to be much more careful going forward on that. And I try to learn from these things, as we all do. And in that study session, because I couldn't get a sense, and Sue couldn't get a sense of whether it was being requested or not. If people asked for it, but nobody said, we don't need it. Then just make sure that that I get a concurrence on the board, as opposed to having to make an assumption that that's what was wanted going forward on that. This has nothing to discussion, but one thing I did include in your board study packet that you've been asking for is we did some research on the skateboarding issue. And so we gave you the response to that. It's in your board packet, but that's it's just pretty straightforward, on that. But that's it. Somebody had a question on unrelated. Yeah.
Just to amplify what you're saying and to review that we at length have tried to discuss this issue, and I presented policy clarification, I believe back in March, that when the board takes an action, it's done as a board, and that any direction to the superintendent is done after a vote of the board. And I think this is a good example of what we're going through right now, where somebody said something and individual trustees might have had a request, and it then translates into an action and an expense, an expenditure of very precious college funds. But the initial issue is acting as a board, and only as a board giving direction to the CEO. So we need to review. That policy was rejected, and I think it's something that we should keep considering, how we operate as a board in toto rather than individual trustees.
Well, in fairness to that one, that was at a study session, you're requesting information that was time sensitive for this meeting. So it wasn't done by individuals, it was done in a study session. You were not present for that. I understand why, so that wasn't a criticism of why you weren't there. I'm just saying that it was with the board present.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Marcia, and then Maureen.
I was just going to say, I understand the difficulty sometimes from a study session divining the views of the board, because we don't make decisions in the board, we don't vote on decisions in the board in a study session. And so maybe one of the things before us is to think more carefully about how we focus that, and I think that's what Jack is saying, so that we are clearer in whatever consensus we may have in a study session, or we provide an opportunity to actually make a decision and provide direction.
Well, I think in this instance it was pretty clear.
Maury was next.
Yeah, I wanted to echo that I thought it was clear, too. We talked about it at length. We talked with our expert on redistricting, and we took votes. And I thought it was pretty clear that there were 2 people that expressed an interest in it, and only 2 people. So I, like Louise, was surprised that, it was still considered.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
And I think that's one of the issues we have as a board in communicating.
Yeah, well, I think again, as I said, a few minutes ago, I looked at this whole thing and said, okay, well, what can I learn from it? And so I learned, in those situations, that I'm going to make sure I really understand what the consensus of the board is. Where this time I wasn't sure and so it's going forward. That's what I'll be changing, to have clarity going forward, as opposed to having to guess when people didn't say no, and some people said yes, but that's immaterial going forward. I'm clear what we need to do.
Okay, any other comments? Okay, we move on from item 1.6 to item 2.2, establishment of the meeting dates and times. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
See you again.
And place for regular board meetings. Is there a motion to approve the dates as identified under item 2.2?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? We move to a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion is carried. We move to item 2.3, the establishment of meeting date and place for the annual organizational meeting for the Board of Trustees. That date would be December 13th, 2012. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is made and seconded. Discussion? I don't see any. All in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion is carried. 2.4, subcommittees for the Board of Trustees for calendar year 2012. I would recommend that we carry on with the status quo until we have our retreat, where we may have a chance to discuss more effectively how that might happen. Joan?
I'd like to add, when we discuss this, that we insert the word policies in all of the board committees, because that is our role. We are policy overseers, we are policy formers, so we do have educational policies. Our job is to apply the written policies when issues come up before the board. That's our role. Our role is to also identify where we might need to develop new policy.
Good.
So I think there's been a little confusion on the specifics of what subcommittees are intended and what we are empowered to do. So by the insertion of, similar to educational policies, that we do fiscal policies committee, facility policies committee, and then I do believe we did say we would reevaluate whether we wanted to continue with the community relations committee, because I'm not really clear on what that mission charge or activities have been or where it plays a role in policy.
Okay. Lisa?
Yeah, I just wanted to speak to that. You know, as we've been all talking about this, it's been a tumultuous year, and the Community Relations Committee, when we set it up, we said it may be just a year long, and I still envision that once it gets busy, that it wouldn't be a standing committee, in my opinion. But in terms of policy, let me give the redistricting as an example. I don't think we're clear on how we, as an institution, engage with the community and when we solicit information from the community and interact with the community. And I did a cursory review of all of our policies, and I think I upset Jack momentarily talking about this, but there were 20 or 21 policies where we could look at how does the college engage with the community. So I would encourage us to at least have that as part of the goal of this committee, to revisit all of our policies in the context of the college being part of the community, and see if there are any revisions that need to be made.
Our Community Relations Policies Committee, again, would just to confine the discussion to our role as a policy
That's just
overseer.
all I talked about right there was policies.
Okay, that insertion of the name
Would
policies
this be
as
a
well.
good discussion to carry on at our retreat?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think also if we look at our board policy, the president of the board shall state the general functions of each committee. So I think that would be a worthy goal, so we all understand exactly what the functions are. Just because you're going to be dealing with a totally new board in another year.
Well, I would feel very comfortable doing that as a consequence of the discussions that we might have at the board retreat.
Yeah, and that actually came up at our last study session, Joan, about coming
Okay.
up with the roles of each of the committees. So
Good.
that's good.
Is there concurrence with the suggestion that we then carry on, for legal purposes, the existing committee structure until we have a retreat, and at that point we may want to revise, come back to a regular meeting and make those changes? That make sense?
Yes.
That's fine.
Okay, I sense we have concurrence, so that's what we'll do. 2.5, appointment of representative and alternate to the County Committee on School District Organization.
I think I'm the representative, and it's not a high-paying job, and I didn't have to do anything. So I got a memo. I think I got one memo from Bill Cerrone. I also asked him about redistricting, but that was a different matter, almost. I just wanted to see how the committee, is organized.
Would you
about
consider
that.
a reappointment?
I would
at
be
double-
glad to. I would be
double the
glad to be
salary?
appointed to any committee that doesn't do anything.
Hey, Marty?
Just for continuity.
Hey, Marty, you can put that on your resume.
Yeah, I'll put that on my
That's
resume,
right.
that I was on a committee that never met.
All right.
No, but I do
And
think
who
that
was-
there are times when it does meet, I know that, and I'd be fine continuing it.
All right. Is there, who is the alternate?
I have no idea.
Does
I don't know. I
anybody
don't think
want to
we have
volunteer to be the,
Two.
that they were the alternate for this brief?
I think I was serving as alternate because I had been on the committee prior, so I'm willing to continue for the next
Okay.
year.
We can do it.
Okay.
And just by way of history, again, the one time the committee did meet was on a redistricting issue with Santa Barbara City College. So it does, when it does go into action, it takes on serious issues.
Sure.
Okay. Item 2.7, selection of a facilitator, George Haynes, for the Board of Trustees retreat to be held on January 21st. Is there a motion to approve the selection? Motion is made. Is there a second? Second. Is there discussion?
I
Joe?
have raised my concerns that I think we have issues that are very specific to boardsmanship under the laws of the state of California. And unfortunately, I didn't see anything in this gentleman's resume that was specific to that. He has a very interesting resume, but I would hope that we focus the discussion on, number one, our board self-evaluation. We have to deal with that specifically. And I think the two books that are really important for him to understand what are some of the issues that come up for us as a board are the Cindra Smith book on trusteeship, as well as the book by Terry O'Banion called The Rogue Trustee. And so I would like to see us at least keep the discussion in those parameters and that it become an educational issue about boardsmanship and that we all are on the same page with boardsmanship.
My understanding is that George would like to interview each of us prior to January 21st. Some of you may already have been contacted, but if you haven't, he has committed to doing just that.
And my concern is there was nothing in his resume that showed he had any expertise in boardsmanship.
Yeah. Lisa?
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure we weren't agreeing to limit it. I would like to proceed with having George interview each of us, and then out of that, he, as a facilitator, will help us guide the discussion on what needs to be spoken about. And at first, I thought you said sportsmanship, and I think that would be a good topic, too, for this board. You know, civility and ways we interact with each other are certainly something that I think we all need to consider. So.
Okay. There's a motion before us. Are you prepared for a vote? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
Nay.
Abstentions? Motion's carried. 2.8, adoption of resolution number 22, Board of Trustees of Santa Barbara Community College District, establishing trustee areas from which governing board members will be elected.
Angie, do you want to call, do we need to call Paul? Paul Mitchell is on standby if we need to talk to him on this. So Angie's giving him a call, but go ahead and have discussion.
So perhaps, having reviewed the attachment, is there a motion to approve the resolution?
I'll move to approve the resolution as stated.
Okay, the motion is made to approve the resolution as stated. This is resolution number 22. Is there a second to the motion? Motion is made and seconded.
It's the Morse code. What are you saying? I can't understand it.
Hello?
Hi, Paul.
Yes.
This is Jack Friedlander. We're now, the board's now considering the resolution to, on going to single districts, but, and so they're just now starting discussion, so, so you listen in, and if you need to answer any questions or provide any information, that's, the board will ask you for that information. So go ahead, Peter.
Well, we have a motion on the floor to approve resolution number 22 as stated. It has been moved and seconded. We're in discussion. Are there points to be made? Joan?
On the resolution, I just wanted for clarification, again, I had been gone for the last 3 weeks, so activities may have taken place that I'm not aware of. But on the line about the middle of the page, whereas the board has conducted public hearings on September 22nd, November 10th, and October 27th, were those simply the board meetings, or were there any additional hearings that were held in the community, or was there any outreach to the community? There was nothing in the Community Relations Subcommittee that took this out. Did we even have a meeting with the campus community on this?
Not a special meeting. We had meetings here and we
Board
had public,
meetings, so
public
it just simply
statements.
consisted of
Yes.
3 board meetings on that.
Joan, was there excuse me, Jack, wasn't there a news release?
Yeah, we
about it?
put a news release out, and we also had a link to the website with a specific resolution proposal. So we've had that up for the last week and a half.
If people knew about it.
Which
Yeah,
the
but
news
but we also put a media release out.
Was there an announcement in the paper that people could?
It was
I mean,
sent
was there a
out.
legal notice or anything that indicated to the community at large that we were undertaking this?
Well, the agenda, but then we also sent out, put it on our webpage, and we sent out the media release on that. Joan's not here, but I can't remember if anybody. Joan, did any of the media pick up on this in terms of?
Can I ask that Joan come forward?
Yeah.
So that I'd like to be, I know we spoke about this in the meeting, and I'd like to hear clearly what efforts were made
Yes.
in terms of the media release.
Yeah.
He wants you over there. You get to be a student for a day.
Right.
For an hour.
The board expressed interest in letting the community know what was going on and what was the last option that was being looked at. So I worked with Jack. We also had Paul Mitchell weigh in on this, and we posted on our website. It was background information, then it was a map, and then it showed how the size of each district under the plan that was being considered as last option and who would be representative on there. So once that was posted, I issued a news release to our entire media list. It wasn't very long. It was about 3 paragraphs. It was a summary, and it drove people to the link if they had additional questions. We did put in the information on the website that if people had questions or any input, that they could email Angie, and we would address any questions that came up. So a news release did go out. No, there was no legal notice, Joan.
Or advertisement, like we have done for adult ed classes, whatever.
Yes, correct. There was no advertisements.
I have another question just to follow up on the second one. The board has received public input and comments and has considered all public input. Is there a source where that input was collected, that it can be reviewed, that's part of the record? I'm not, again, I was gone, so I don't know what public input. The only public input I recall was editorial in the news press requesting an independent commission to draw the line. So I don't know what other public input was
I think you're
offered.
correct. That was the Lanny Ebenstein editorial.
Right.
And I'm not aware of any other public input.
I don't remember either, and nobody came to the board meetings to address this, and that was the forum where people could give it, and I don't think, Angie, you received any responses to that.
Okay, we have a statement that the board has considered all public input and comment on
Well, it's
plans.
invited, it's
but
invited, it's invited.
Has
and-
considered all such
Well,
input.
I think we considered Lanny's editorial as well. I mean,
Okay,
why wouldn't we?
but that was the only one, okay.
If it's not here, we can't
Right.
Yeah.
consider it.
Well, and we were told that it's not, that we cannot put off our obligation to redistrict by giving it to an independent committee, because we asked about that. And they said, no, or I think it was Paul. who
Paul, can
said,
you
"No,
if I
we have to
clarify?
do that.
Paul,
ourselves."
I believe that's right, what Trustee Blum just said, is pretty much this was a board decision, and can you give some clarity on that?
I believe it was a petition
So the
access that was going to
it's
trigger
hard for me
that.
to hear exactly everything, but
okay.
to
This
speak
issue-
to the public portion, your responsibility is to have open public meetings and a transparent process. And in that regard, this has got to be the 5th meeting or something like that on the subject. And so it would have been hard for anybody to come to these meetings and not hear about redistricting. In terms of the process from here on, you have the full power to approve the lines that you don't have any other agency or any other group that's going to come in and approve those lines after you've passed them. You will have to file them with the county registrar, and that's something that we'll work with your staff on. And you will have to get an approval from the Board of Governors to change your election process. They're not going to criticize or review the lines themselves. They're going to approve the basis for your change in process and waive your need to have a special election to approve the transition to the by-district system. So that's where you're at right now.
Other questions, concerns?
I think another question was about the selection of the dates for each district. Was that fixed or was that discretionary for each new district that's been created? The election dates, election cycle dates.
We discussed that.
As the memo outlined, there is some parts that are fixed and some parts that are discretionary. The numbered elections that you have for seats 1 through 4, those numbers will maintain their same election year, and that's what we've done in the memo. What you can do is assign where what number goes and assign the dates for the new elections, provided that you have 3 of one cycle and 4 of another, in order to keep that balance. So the numbering system that we reviewed in our last call is a numbering system you can apply to these districts without having any problems at all.
We discussed this at the last study session, Joan, when you were not here.
Well, I'd like to hear about it.
The tape is available.
And I think this is part of the transparency process, is to get these questions cleared up. It did come up in the public today, and we didn't have an answer for it, so I think it's important.
Maury?
I was a little confused on the dates, too. I think a couple meetings prior to this, I don't know if it was the previous board meeting we had, Paul, you had dates for District 1 and District 5 as being 2012, and then it changed to 2014. And when you had it as 2012, I was trying to think of the rationale for that, and I could see where reasons for having it as both. And in the last study session, I brought that up as to why I thought there was justification for having the election in District 1 and District 5 as being 2012. So when you first submitted that to us, you had 2012, and I'm just wondering what your reasoning was in having that, and then changing it to 2014.
Paul, did you hear the question?
I could kind of hear the question.
Well, I did a lot of talking for nothing.
Yeah. Essentially, the question focuses on area 1 and 5. Maury Jerkowitz points out that in your initial rendering, you were suggesting an election in those 2 areas for 2012. The final version, however, suggests that we do this in 2014.
Yes. So the rationale for moving it from 2012 to 2014 was keeping a primary focus on ensuring that every trustee is able to serve their 4 years and not have to hop into a election 2 years early, losing 2 years of their eligibility. Not only because it would mean that somebody would basically be making a choice as to whether or not to fill their full term or run for election early, but also that if somebody did leave their term early in order to accommodate the numbering system, the board would face the responsibility of paying for a special election to replace that board member. So in both of the elections, we've chosen to, or we've recommended to go with a numbering system that allows all of the trustees to fulfill their 4-year terms before the impact of the numbering system occurs.
Okay, Marcia?
I think there's the additional reason that we have 2 new districts that have no representation at all at this time, and so they necessarily need to have an election. And then we have District 4, which is the district in Luis Villegas is from, and Luis it would be up for election in 2012. So right there you have 3 districts that need elections next time. And you can only have 3 and then 4. So it becomes extremely complex to do anything other than this particular proposal. Not to mention expensive, as Paul just pointed out.
Let's see, Lisa, you haven't had it spoken.
Yeah, well, I would like this to come up in the retreats too. If a meeting is missed, it's so important for everybody to listen to the tapes and understand it. And also, I encourage all of us, if we don't understand something that we discuss in a meeting, to be able, it is okay for us as board members to call and talk to the president or our consultants and get that clarity so we don't end up spending our meetings talking about the same thing over 3 meetings. I think the overriding point here after we went over these was the fact that Marcia just mentioned. I believe it's a law that we have to elect 3 one election year, and 2 years later we have to elect 4. We're creating these new districts. If we don't, as she just said, and I'm just repeating it again to be transparent, if we're going to set up 2 new districts, District 2 and 3, they have to be in 2012. The other one to look at is Luis's. If we don't do his in 2012, all of a sudden we're letting him go beyond a 4-year term without election. So he necessarily has to, that District 4 has to be in 2012. So we have 3 right there where there have to be elections in 2012.
Okay, Maureen?
I understand that, and I guess the reason we have Paul advising us is in this redistricting, this is something totally new. Do the old rules stand, or are we looking, we're talking about district voting now, and does the right of the voters in each of these districts trump the longevity of trustees? That's sort of what I'm asking. And because we're redistricting, perhaps in viewing the rights of the voters in these districts, perhaps you can have one time when you have more than the 4 and the 3 votes. And that's what I'm asking Paul, and that's what I was confused about, why he initially set these up for 12. I just want clarification, because when I saw it, it gave me some rationale that might say it's more important in 1 and 5 to have the election in 12 to see what the voters in those districts really want. Of course, it's definitely an inconvenience to both Trustee Haslam and Croninger to have to come up. I realize that 2 years later, but I just wanted to express these opinions because that's what we're doing when we're redistricting this whole thing.
Yeah, and that came up at the study session, and I believe Paul answered it, but it's very important for him to answer it again, then to be real clear.
Paul, did you hear the question?
I think the question is whether it trumps. Maury's concern is whether what the public's flexibility, perhaps, in being able to vote trumps this
statute that requires
a law that requires that we elect 3 and then 4.
Yeah, Paul, go ahead.
So both options were provided essentially in order for the board to see the impact of having the election in Trustee Area 1 be in 12 versus be in 14. And really, that was the only difference between the two plans. The other differences were the ripples caused by that change. So both changes would be within the discretion, both versions would be within the discretion of the board to do. But when posed with the potential, second domino, third domino effects of the 12 elections in those areas, the board, I think, has a right to be concerned about the unintended consequences of those choices. The unintended consequences of going to 12 would be that you would put trustees in a position of having to run for election for a seat 2 years earlier, not being able to fulfill the full term that they were elected to. And secondly, you would have to, let's say Haslam does run for that seat, and Haslam wins that seat in 12. The board would be obliged to pay for a special election to replace Haslam, because he wouldn't be vacating a seat until he got elected into the new seat. So the complexity of that decision and the cost to the district potentially as a result of it seems like it's prohibitive for that numbering system to be approved. But I wanted to make sure that the board could see both options. I don't like, just like with our mapping options, to come in and say, here it is, this is the only thing that you can accept. I'd like to come in and provide the options so that the board understands what is within their discretion.
Marcia?
Paul, I recognize you're not the one who gives us legal advice, and I'm not trying to get into legal bills here, but it seems to me that the question included the issue of, can we trump a statute which says we have to elect 3 and 4, and we have to have 7? And I think that math, we don't get to change the statutes here, and there isn't a statute that I'm aware of that would address Maury's question that says you get to somehow override that statute that says 3 and 4.
Okay.
So do we need to hear an answer from Paul on that?
Yeah, why don't we hear Paul?
Can we ignore the statute, I guess is the question to you, Paul.
So you are going to have elections staggered with 3 trustees one election year and 4 trustees the other.
Thank you.
You could do it either way. You could have 4 in 12 and 3 in 14, or vice versa. Both of those are legal options. And there's a misperception that one of those options would create situations where you had too many trustees or too few trustees. That's not the case. But going to the election cycle where you were to replace those seats in 12 would just create additional disruption for the board. Both of them, though, are equally legal. It's a question of whether or not the board wants to ultimately pay the additional cost of having elections to replace trustees that have run for seats early before their terms expire.
Did you?
It's a very complex and confusing piece of the puzzle.
Just one other comment, too. It's a given. I think we all understand the 2 new districts, 2 and 3, have to be in 2012. District 4 has to be in 2012. If we wanted to pull in a 4th, how do we make the choice? I mean, it would be difficult for me to make the choice of picking either District 1 or District 5, because I would be shorting one or another trustee of their term.
We could flip a coin.
Yeah. Well, as Paul said, there's this domino effect. So here
Sure. Well, as he said, it's very complex, and, that's what we're considering, and that's why, I had some people of the public talk to me about it, and I represented something that then turns out to be different than this thing that we're voting on today. So that's why I'm asking all these questions. And it is complex, and I think...
Luis had his hand up.
Yeah, no, I was, it is also statute, right, Paul, that for the new districts, they have to be 4 years? because I was thinking that when somebody is appointed to a board, they immediately have to run at the next election. They're appointed, they fill out 1 year, half a year, 2 years, et cetera, but then at the next election, when they're appointed, they have to run immediately. Does the new district trustee, does that automatically have to be 4? I think it's, is that true?
Or can it be 2? Can you
Right.
set up one as a 2-year?
That's what I was wondering.
So
I'm talking about number 2 and number 3.
The answer is, if you create a seat that is going to be a 2014 seat and it's currently vacant, you're not going to be appointing to somebody to that for the intervening 2 years. That seat will become operative in 2014. If you create a new vacant seat and you make it a 2012 seat, you will have an election. That will be for a full 4-year term. So there's no point at which you're going to be having to fill gaps and appoint people to 2-year terms.
No, that wasn't, I was just using that as an example. The question is, for the 2 new trustee seats, they automatically have to be elected, or by statute, for a 4-year term, or can that be changed to a 2-year term?
So in other words,
No.
Okay.
The answer would be, yeah, the answer is just no.
Okay.
The short answer is no.
Okay.
Stick with that, Paul, that was simple.
We like that.
are you ready for a vote?
I think Joan's had her hand up, I've been blocking.
I'm just, was going to ask the same question that Louise asked, and then also the geographical distribution of trustees across the district for election years. This one is fairly reasonable, but I guess my concern would be is if it had come where we ended up with 3 trustees from the North County all of a sudden clustering to come up on one election, and then 4 trustees clustering down at another. So I think for the health of the district, when different combinations come up is a consideration. I don't know how we would look at it, but it's obviously a material consideration, because when you elect 4 trustees, you have elected a new board majority. So that cycle, that election cycle, carries more weight than an election cycle where there are only 3. So my hope would be that at least when 3 are up, that they're spread across the district, and I believe they would be in this, and that when 4 come up, that they're spread across the district as well. However, that being said, I can see in some other configuration that might not be the case. So when you say that there's a very rigid rule that every new district has to have a 4-year election cycle, inadvertently, one could end up with a clustering that may not serve the interests of the district at large. So I'm just raising that issue, and then amplify that, yes, we have had elections, mine included, that I had to run the first year after I was appointed. In that time, it distorted the election process because there were more trustees up for election than normally would have been at that time.
Paul, I just have one fast question. Your map has a number of wiggly lines, and I'm going to assume that somewhere there's a more detailed map where the divisions between the districts are clearly identified. Is that a correct assumption?
We've seen that.
Yes.
They gave it earlier.
It's going to be clearer.
There are 3 types of maps that we have, or we can also make even bigger for you if you'd like. We have overview maps, individual district maps that just show the district itself, and then we have the Google Maps that you can zoom in on and get any level of
Yeah, that's actually good enough. So that my question is, are you still there?
Yes, I'm sorry. It sounded like I got cut up for a second.
Yeah, okay, but I think that was okay. You answered the question. There are maps that are clear. Marcia?
Could I follow that up with the request that we put at least the level of detail maps that went with our original package that explained option 2, so that people can easily see where they fall in a district if they're interested in running to this resolution or to some place that people can easily find it on our website, one of those options? Because at this level of detail as we have in our package, I think some people might wonder which district they're in.
Hey, Paul?
Yes, we can provide that.
Good, then we'll post it.
Okay. Are we ready for a vote?
I had one final comment. This is more just for the public and transparency. So on the item 2.8, page 404, one of the primary things that we wanted to look at in designing these districts that we were required to look at was the spread of population and that it was even amongst all the districts. And that's what had gotten so out of proportion as compared to 10 years ago. So if the members of the public are looking at this, they can see that each of these new districts, in terms of representation, has approximately the same number of residents.
Okay. Joan?
And a technical correction of that is each person, Joan, sorry.
Joan, sorry.
I'm sorry, I just want to make a very quick comment. In terms of this information being out in the media, I just want to let you know that Channels, our school paper, did run a story about redistricting this fall. And at our last board meetings and study sessions, we have had reporters from the Santa Barbara News Press attend and Newshawk. And the News Press has run a front page story about this. So the word about the fact that the board has been looking at redistricting, I believe, is out there somewhat.
Thank you, Joan.
Okay. Joan, final
I just
comment?
want to technically say that each board member in the past represented the entire district residential areas, really didn't distinguish who we represented. It just was a way to give a geographical spread. We did represent the entire district.
Right. Absolutely. Are we prepared for a vote?
I'm just looking at the resolution, and I had concerns about the language of the resolution. I learned since then from Jack that it's a form, apparently, that has been approved in Sacramento.
Paul, on the forms, and I had the Chancellor's Office emailed, that went along with these forms, the census, but the resolutions that the Chancellor's Office sent out saying the Board of Governors, got agreement that they can have these waivers. There was the Board of Governors' decision, or did they consult with the appropriate agency to get that waiver approved? And I had the email from the Chancellor's Office. I could forward it to you. It was a while back that we got this. It was months ago, saying. But Paul, do you understand the question?
Paul, are we able to tinker with the language of this resolution? Yes or no?
I think that's the stock language. I'm sure that if you were to send something up that was a little bit amended, that they could take that into account. I don't know that that would cause any major problems if you were to make a small amendment. I want to make a note, by the way, that my phone is beeping at me, so I might get cut off here. So if there's something that I need to really address, might want to make sure that that happens before my phone dies here.
Okay, quickly, the concerns I have were the third whereas down, which says, whereas a by-trustee area election process is not vulnerable to challenge under the CVRA. And that strikes me as not correct. If we had, for example, which we have not, attempted to create districts which were contrary to the mandates of the CVRA, then it would be vulnerable to challenge. So it seems to me, whereas a by-trustee area election process properly constructed is not vulnerable to challenge, would be a more appropriate statement.
That's fine language. They're using a common wisdom in the redistricting world that is, the minute you have districts, no matter how poorly fashioned they are, they remove you from vulnerability to CVRA. And a lawsuit against your district lines would have to be a federal case at that point. It's just, so you can amend that, that's not going to be a big deal.
Okay, and the other minor amendment is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 down, whereas it says, whereas district staff and consultants have prepared and proposed trustee area plans and recommendations. As far as I'm aware, our staff have not been doing it, but you have. So I would go, whereas the district's consultants have prepared.
That's fine.
Unless somebody from the staff wants to say they were doing it too.
Okay.
Well, I think that staff would include.
I sense we're approaching a time when we can take a vote. Am I correct? Okay. The motion itself specifies that we're approving this resolution as stated, but we've now had 2 amendments. Would the mover of that motion accept those 2 amendments?
Well, but tell me what the First Amendment was.
In
actual
paragraph
words.
3, whereas
I know, but the actual word.
by trustee area election process properly constructed
Is that right? Okay.
is
I'll
not
accept that.
vulnerable.
Okay.
And the other is the deletion of the 2 words staff and in
So it
the
would be the district's consultants have prepared.
Okay.
the districts.
I'll
Okay.
accept both of them, thanks.
Is the seconder of the motion in agreement? Okay. We are prepared for a vote.
I wasn't motioning or seconding. I was going to make another comment, but I hope I didn't get recorded as being a motion or a second.
No,
Okay.
you weren't.
Okay, I was raising my hand when
Okay.
you were looking for...
I was hoping to move to a vote, but go ahead.
Okay, I just wanted to say, since I'm going to be voting against this, that I have an opportunity to explain why, and it goes back to my original concern that we were never given an opportunity to look at this as a neutral process, and so that's my primary concern, that it was never a neutral. We never had a discussion on communities of interest that were specific to the mission of Santa Barbara City College, and I am not comfortable that the public board meetings were sufficient public involvement, so that explains my vote against this.
Okay. Any other comment? We're ready for a vote. All in, oh, wait a minute, this is a resolution. Please call the roll.
Aye.
Trustee Croninger?
Aye.
Trustee Haslam?
Aye.
Trustee Jerkowitz?
No.
Trustee Livingston?
No.
Trustee Macker?
Aye.
Trustee Villegas?
Aye. Aye.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you,
Thank you very
Paul.
much.
Hey, Paul, so what's the next step? We just, now, do we send this to the, what happens now?
I'll email you. We're going to need to, we'll obviously assist you with the Board of Governors, and we will work with your county registrar with what they need in order to file it. Those are the 2 steps.
Okay, so email and I'll make sure we follow through on that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Take care.
Hey, Paul, we're going to miss you participating in these meetings.
Okay. Take care. Thank you
Okay.
very much. Bye-bye.
Guess he won't miss us. Okay.
All right,
That's
we move to point 2.9, public hearing on district's initial collective bargaining proposal to the International Brotherhood of Teamsters Local 186. Is there,
Motion to move into public hearing.
motion is made to move into public hearing. Is there a second?
Moved.
A second. Is there discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We are in public hearing. Is there comment? No? Very well. Is there a motion to move out of public hearing?
So move.
Oh, wait a minute. Do we have to do 2.10 as well in,
I think we move out of public hearing and back into regular session.
okay. Then the motion is made to move out of public hearing. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. We are back into general session. Item 2.10, district adoption of initial proposal to International Brotherhood of Teamsters, Local 186. Is there a presentation to be made? Nope, you have read it. All right, I don't think there's a motion that we... Okay, is there a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Second. Discussion of the motion before us. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion is carried. 2.11, approval of board policy 5047, multiple and overlapping enrollments. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Marty Bloom seconds. Is there discussion? Hearing none. We move to a vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Abstentions? None? Okay, we We have approved Board Policy 5047. We move to item 3, Human Resources and Legal Affairs. Sue Ehrlich.
Thank you very much, members of the board. President Haslam, I have one correction to make in this. At the top of what I believe is page 5 for you, minimum qualification equivalencies for spring continuing education. Spring should read winter. And with that one clarification, I submit this to you for your approval.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Oh, good. I was getting worried. Is there a second? All right. We have a second.
Roll now.
All in favor of the motion to approve this report, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries by unanimous consent. Okay? And we move on to...
2 action items? And Dr. Hassan, I believe we're pulling 3.2.
Right. 3.2.
We're not ready.
We're not quite ready. Zipping forward to 3, that was 3.2 that was pulled at the bottom of page 11.
3.2, would it be possible to get the attachment that you were going to provide tonight, or is that not available? Because I'm not up to speed on this issue.
In terms of what we...
What is being proposed?
Yeah, we can send it to you.
Okay, thank you.
Item 4, educational programs, Marilyn Spaventa.
Good evening, members of the board, President Haslam, and Acting Superintendent President Jack Friedlander. I'm going to be zipping right along too, and I have only 2 items this evening. A new program proposal that has gone through the curriculum process, and that's for a new degree in kinesiology that will be transferable to CSUs and UCs. We currently have about 250 majors in kinesiology, so this is going to give a tremendous opportunity for students to get a degree and transfer. The other item is a modification to an existing program, and that's in global studies. Part of one of the courses is the United Nations Conference that is here, and there is a fee attached to it. So we made that modification so that it's clear to students and that they pay that fee at the time of registration. And also there were, at that time, some updates in textbooks and student learning outcomes, etc. So
we were asked to approve the attachment 4.1. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Lisa and Marcia.
Joan and Marcia.
Discussion? Joan and Marcia, sorry. No discussion. We move to a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Abstentions?
Assuming you have no material connection with global studies or United Nations at this point, so there's no conflict of interest?
I will err on the side of abstaining.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah, while Marilyn is on the stage, I just want to compliment her working very well with Mark Farrar and the faculty. We're down to about 6 or 7 courses left that don't have SLOs, student learning outcomes, and we should have that all wrapped 100%, which is compliant on student learning outcomes. So I'm really pleased with the progress we've made on that. So thank you, Marilyn.
we're down to under 5.
Under 5
And we just
now.
found out that one course is no longer taught. So it's the mystery courses that we're
Right.
uncovering at this point. Thank you.
Thank you, Marilyn. Item 5, Ophelia Ayando.
Are we still paying the instructor?
Continuing education.
We have SLOs in search of a course now, right?
Uh-huh.
Go ahead.
Good evening, Dr. Haslam, Board of Trustees, Dr. Friedlander. 5.1, recommend approval of new courses and/or course modifications to be submitted to the state for approval.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion is made. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is seconded. Discussion of the proposal? Hearing none, we move to a vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Abstentions? Thank you very much.
5.2, recommend approval of new or modified community service or fee-based courses.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion is made, is seconded. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Are there abstentions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Motion is carried. We move on to item 6, Business Services. Joe Sullivan.
Good evening. The first item on the agenda are the consent items.
Is there a motion to approve the consent items?
So moved.
Marty Blooms makes the motion. Is there a second? Okay.
I have a question.
Okay, the motion has been made and seconded.
Never mind, that's
Joan?
under action items, sorry.
Okay.
No.
6.1, business consent items. Motion is made and seconded. Hearing no discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Abstentions?
Okay, we can move on to item 6.2A, the adoption of resolution number 23, authorizing the routine internal budget transfers. And we can take that in conjunction with 6.2B, the adoption of resolution number 24, providing for 2011-12 budget revisions due to receipt of unbudgeted revenue.
Can we take those two resolutions?
Yes, we can take them together.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve resolution 23 and 24 as identified on page 14? Motion is made. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is made and seconded. Is there discussion of these two resolutions? Hearing none, we go to a vote. All in favor say aye.
Roll call.
Oops, sorry. I keep forgetting. Please.
Aye.
Trustee Croninger?
Aye.
Trustee Haslam?
Aye.
Trustee Berkowitz?
Aye.
Trustee Livingston?
Aye.
Trustee Macker?
Aye.
Trustee Villegas?
Aye.
Okay, we can move on to item 6.2C, which is the approval of the transfer from the construction contingency fund to the following proposed projects. And this is brought as a separate item because it is significant dollars and there are significant projects there. These are ongoing maintenance of the campus.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Marty moves. Maury seconds. Is there discussion on the motion?
Well, the original list was much longer, and I wanted to commend the staff for cutting it down because we have to at these times, but they really did a commendable job. I hope nothing falls apart in the meantime.
Yeah.
You know, these are the very needed, necessary things, and there are other things that need to be done, but this is it.
Okay. We go to a vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Abstentions? Motion is carried.
6.2D is the approval of the transfer from the unrestricted general fund contingency to the following program review items. And I know Jack might want to come on these, but I can start it off by saying that this has been a long, arduous process to get it down to this number. And the staff has worked really hard to get here. There's been a lot of concessions made, and there are still, even now, discussions on what was left off versus what's really needed versus what is in here. So that'll be an ongoing conversation.
Yeah, what this was, last year's program review process, plus requests for non-routine items, it just took a long time to get all the lists and spreadsheets sorted out. Then there was a transition, so we lost a couple months. And then we had to reconstruct everything, all the spreadsheets, which we did the best that we could, review it again, and plus pare the list down as much as we could, given our budget situation. So this was extensive conversations with College Planning Council, with individuals and on the Senate, the Planning and Resource Committee, and hours and hours and hours. But this is the best we can do in terms of paring it down to what we felt was essential. And as Joe mentioned, there's still a little fluidity, but there'll be some things added, some things taken away, but this number is pretty close to what we have to do.
Is there a motion to approve item D? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second?
Second. Discussion, questions?
Again.
Yes.
Joe and Jack, I just wanted to say I appreciate all the work that's gone into this, and it's my assumption also that you have been at the same time thinking about the cuts that we are facing going forward, so it's really a very complex process to be working this through, and many people have sacrificed to get it down to this number.
Yeah, and I think given our budget situation, which when we started this process last year, we didn't put the kinds of restrictions we're putting on this next program review cycle. There'll be much greater clarity because we have greater clarity in terms of our budget situation as to what gets ranked as absolutely essential, and that's what we're going to limit it to in doing this.
Yes,
I'd like
Joe?
to endorse also what Trustee Coninger was saying, and one of the issues that came up at the Aspen Institute interview with the board is we talked a lot about how proud we were that we really have a successful shared governance process. And it was recognized that it's easy to have a shared governance process when times are good, but we really didn't have experience with shared governance when times are bad, except we are now. We're seeing each division is coming forward in a shared governance way. The people who are most affected by it are weighing in and recognizing and participating, and I think that's such a hallmark of a strong, committed, dedicated college that's on the same wavelength, so appreciate that. So the next time, if we do go before the Aspen Institute, we can report saying, yes, even in bad times, we have a very effective shared governance process.
Trustee Livingston, if I may, when I was back in Washington, the person who headed the site visits for all the schools they commented about our participatory, shared governance. It really stuck, it was unusually good and strong, and that was something that he commented on, at the event, to me. So it came through, but you're right. I mean, the real test of institutions, what we're going through now, is the hard times, and so far we're handling it well. So thank you.
We move to a motion, or we have a motion, we move to a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed, nay. Are there abstentions? There are none.
Item 6.2E is the approval of the award of construction contract for the campus-wide emergency notification system to Blum & Sons. I do have a correction on this. It's not $105,574. It's $109,574. I apologize for the error, but I caught that just before the meeting this evening. And then I would also like to comment, because in the write-up we state that due to budget constraints, it is not recommended that the district undertake to complete the work contemplated in the bid alternates at this time. And after continued discussion both internally and the facilities committee, we would like to recommend that we actually go forward with the alternates at this time, even though it does is above the original estimate for this project. The cost of doing the two alternates is much less than we believe we could do doing it independently. And the objective was to provide this system for all three campuses when we originally set out, and that would fulfill that objective. And so, if possible, we'd like to modify that to include the two alternates. I don't know if you want to take them all together or separate them into individual motions.
I have concern when there's that much disparity in the two bids on the alternates. And the only concern I have is that, such as the Garvin, are we getting a low bid and then we'll run into cost change orders later when there's this much disparity? So do you have any insight why you think there was that much disparity on the alternates, either twice or three times as much difference between the bidders, even though they are closer on the base bid?
No, we did not go back and question we would have to go back to Smith Electric and ask them, I guess, why their bid was higher. But The process was extensive. I mean, they did get all the specs. They spent one full day on a Saturday walking this campus. They did a follow-up to the other 2 campuses. So the walkthrough was fairly complete. So we're confident that they know, in this case, what is involved, that the specs are out there, that there are, you know, they all looked at them, they all understand what needs to be done. I can't say what happens once you get into a project. We know what can happen, but we did discuss that, and when we were confident that the specs are good and that the walkthrough was very thorough. So that's like the best we can do.
So let's be specific about what you're recommending.
Yes.
That is, you're recommending Blum and Sons.
Yes.
For both the base bid and the first and second alternative.
Yes.
Okay. And we're assuming that the Blum and this.
No relation.
Okay. Terrific.
At all, that I know of.
All right. Is there a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
And second. Discussion of the motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Are there abstentions? No. Thank you very much.
We have
Motion's
one
carried.
item here is an information item, and 6.3, which is the acknowledgement of the DSA approval of the pedestrian bridge repair replacement project status update. And I'm just here in case there are questions on that. I know the write-up is, I think, pretty self-explanatory, but if you had any questions, I'd be glad to answer them at this time.
Any questions of Joe about this? Okay, thank you very much, Joe. We move into, we need to move into a closed session. Is there a motion to do so?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we'll take a 10-minute break.
Okay, excuse me, before everybody leaves, it's,
Oh, yes, I do. The items are listed, 8.1 and 8.2 on your agenda, conference with labor negotiators, employee organizations, California School Employees Association, pursuant to Government Code Section 54957.6A. Direct negotiations, or negotiators present will be Bruce Barsuk, Joe Sullivan, and Sue Ehrlich. And 8.2, conference with legal counsel, significant exposure to litigation pursuant to Section 54956.9 B3A. There's one case to be discussed. And I think, did we take a vote? I can't remember. I think we did. In which case, Jack, did you have something else?
well, yeah, I was going to ask questions, it's not part of the agenda, but it's now about 6:25, 6:30.
Yes.
We were prepared to order pizza. We thought we'd be done by 7. Is that okay with everybody if I go ahead and do that?
Pardon?
Just bring pizza in for the closed session. Okay, Angie, we're all set. And,
Whose budget does it come in?
yeah, okay.
Has met in closed session, considered input about labor negotiations, and has given guidance to legal counsel as well as staff. And the same is true for item 8.2, where we had a conference with legal counsel on significant exposure to litigation, and we have provided legal counsel to both, or we provided guidance to both legal counsel and staff. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Is there objection? I think we stand adjourned.